Hey folks, it's springtime. Happy springtime, all that stuff. I've got here a video. It's a top 3 hardscaper. I mean, what do you want out of me, folks? Top 4 things, and it's probably gonna be like 10, of what not to do when you mulch. I've got a prime example here, this abomination of mulching here. So here we go. Okay, number 1 thing, don't bury plant material. You see all this mulch piled up on your shrubs and trees and things, piled up against the tree trunk. Mulch is supposed to hold moisture and suppress weed growth. So we're putting moisture, we're putting a product that holds moisture against a part of the tree, i.e. the trunk, that is not supposed to be wet constantly. And what that does is that causes rot there and allows for an easier pathway for bacteria, fungi, diseases, all sorts of stuff to get into the tree. So we don't want to do that. And the same goes for all our shrubbery. This is a huge one on my end of things. Look at this lumpiness along the building. That looks so terrible. What a sloppy job. This is awful. Cheapest bid though, is how it goes, folks. Do you want to be cheapest bid and do this and be forced to do this quality work? No. So don't be afraid to turn down work, and don't be afraid to lose bids unless you want to do crap work like this. This is terrible. But again, it's cheapest bid, it's commercial. I get it, believe me. I just don't do it. We want that line to be nice and smooth. So have somebody go along there, get that nice and smooth all along there. It's terrible. Don't get it against the building. Gosh, that's awful. Don't make a god-awful mess when you get it on the pavement. See how lumpy it is through here? This is just awful. And maybe these guys are around the corner working and are not done cleaning up yet. I don't know. You know, in their defense, I suppose, right? But these are, what have we talked about? So don't bury plant material. Nice, smooth, clean lines along things. Don't make a mess. Clean things up. And also another nice thing to do is when you're doing your prep work, take your shovel and cut an edge in along the sidewalk so that mulch has something to grab and fall into, just like you would edge along the beds. That's going to give you a nice, clean, crisp look. Again, buried plant material, not acceptable. It's a little tough on daffodils and things like that, but you know, it is what it is. The way you charge premium prices is for performing premium quality work. When you edge your beds, which these aren't as bad as the rest of the work here, but when you edge the beds, we want to take a spade shovel, or not a spade, but we take flathead shovels generally. And if you're doing thousands of linear feet commercially and all that stuff, you want to make sure that you have a machine to do that. But for what little edging and cleanups we do, we want to cut that in a nice deep trench edge, because that keeps the grass roots from growing into the bed area and helps, you know, contain the mulch. Now ideally we want this mulch to be just pretty thin right here and not completely filling up the edge, right? So we want that to be back like that, not that kind of stuff. Now you can get away with that a little bit if you do something we call spray and bury. So if there's little weeds in there that are too small for us to pull, or at $100 an hour, we cannot, you know, no client wants to pay us $100 an hour to pick little weeds out. So we will spray it with an herbicide. We are licensed pesticide applicators, by the way, which in your state you're probably supposed to be as well. That's up to you, that's on you. But what we're going to do there is we're going to spray and bury. So little stuff like that, we're going to spray it. We're also then going to apply a 45-day weed preventer application. So that's going to like a pre-emergence. So that's going to help control and suppress weeds in your applications as well. You might apply it 2 or 3 times a season. Great upsell, great maintenance charge. Just you know, just pay attention to how much you're actually applying through the year, because the stuff, it is a chemical. And we want to, my philosophy is we're going to conservatively and judiciously use chemicals and pesticides. So that being said, another thing here with our mulch too, when you are mulching, we want to get it down to where the root flare is. So that's also a big part of planting trees, right? But look at this girdling root right here. Like, we want to cut that off of there because that's choking the tree. This root that's cutting across here, we want to take that and cut that off of there. Now I do like the product these folks are using. It's a fine triple shred. It appears to be a, you know, hardwood mulch. That finely shred, it does break down faster. You amend your soil a little bit faster with that stuff. So I think that looks pretty sharp. So, you know, I like the product they're using. It's more expensive to use that, so that part's cool. But you know, those are some quick tips on mulching, and what you, I believe, need to do to be able to charge premium pricing for your mulch properties. And also, by the way, we want to make sure we're going through and doing all our cleanup work, deadheading stuff as needed, and just having a general understanding of some basic horticultural stuff. Again, allowing you to charge premium prices for premium work. If we're doing mediocre work and lackluster work, well, we're going to be charging lackluster prices for it as well, right? So That's the mentality we got to have in business. Is and even if it's super competitive commercial work, we still want to do a good job. And there's a difference there for, premium work, and then there's good work. And in the commercial world, good work will generally do well enough. This doesn't, in my opinion, even pass as good enough work, and I never want to be a company doing commercial work that's doing subpar, even good work for commercial standards. So that's World According to Almond. No offense to anybody that is doing this. I don't mean it. Maybe you just don't know some better ways to do this, or maybe you're doing this stuff too cheap and you shouldn't be doing it. So that being said, that's how it is, folks. It is Wednesday at noon, or World War III just started, one or the other, I don't know. So that being said, that's it. That's the World According to Almond. Thanks, folks. We'll catch you on the next one.
One policy that will be absolutely mandated at the shop will be any person that walks in that facility, because we're going to have it's going to be a multi-use facility. Any of our guys that are there and they see someone they don't recognize, it's going to be, hey, how are you? How can I help you? Every single time. If there isn't that conversation had or that statement made, there will be problems. Because I know when I walked into the Dodge dealership, a couple salespeople, or a couple people just looked at me and didn't say anything, and it just irked me because I'm a princess. I'm a Karen. But I go to Buckeye Honda or Buckeye Toyota, every person that goes by, hi, can I get you a bottle of water? How are you? Your hair salon does the same thing, by the way. They crush that.